Hey, what's going on? And welcome to the episode. So this episode, I'm going to be talking a little bit about chunking and what that means when you're trying to learn how to learn. Chunking is basically it's a way that it's a memorization of smaller pieces of a larger whole, and using your mental model of what something actually means and breaking it down and giving special meaning to each one of these pieces. Your mind will be able to quickly create a bigger picture of what's going on in that particular system. Barbara Oakley and Tara Semnovsky talked about using puzzles as a way of like understanding how to learn. So when you have a puzzle, you might have like let's say a 500 piece puzzle. You have all these small little pieces of one whole. If you want to start putting it together, you might want to start organizing it. One way of organizing it is one way of organizing it is to pay attention to the colors. So if I had like a puzzle of like a river, and you see like the river has some water that's kind of like bluish, greenish, then you have like the grass that's maybe like green, and you have the sky that's probably like white and blue. I will start organizing all the colors of the puzzles in those statistical areas. Then once those pieces are all done, then I'll start putting together the other pieces, putting those together one piece at a time, trying to make sure that I get all of the puzzle pieces to make a big enough piece of what the sky is supposed to represent, what the lake is supposed to represent, and the trees and the grass. And then I can start putting those two pieces back together. And this is fascinating to me. I mean, the reason why I'm making these videos is because we use these things, but I think we forget. That how easy it is to learn, and learning can be fascinating for all of us. And the whole chunking process is something that I've been told countless times again from people I know and people I've worked with. But I feel like when you're working on learning something in the school, you tend to be when you're working on something in school, you tend to be like in a rush, like trying to finish the work for a due date. You're trying to finish it for a test. You have other things to do, or if you're at work, I would have to like finish working on something. So I would try to find a way to kind of put together several different models as much as possible, so I can have these mental models I can utilize to build out whatever I need to take care of. So one of the things that I like about this course from the Open Source Society is that it talks about how to form a chunk. And one of the things they talk about is like patterns you comment like bigger and bigger. Yeah, patterns. So basically, you take patterns, smaller patterns, and you connect them until they get bigger and bigger. Like I was talking about the puzzles. The other thing was that you also focus on what you understand of the entire whole, because as you start putting smaller pieces together, you start seeing what the entire puzzle pieces are ultimately supposed to become. So you have an instinctive understanding of what you're actually supposed to have at the end result. So one thing they say that helps you big form of chunks is focus, attention, practice, and understanding. There's like I think I might even take a picture of this and show to you on what they were basically saying, where you would have these chunks, these smaller chunks that will move into building up a context of what you're basically doing. And then you have like coming from the top of your chunk building, you'll see like somebody else, like whatever you're doing, you're taking practice and seeing what works and what doesn't work until you actually get enough of what you're doing. The thing that usually happens when you're doing chunking, though, that I've used in the past, was that sometimes I feel like I'm told that, oh, you have a 40-page paper to do, or there's this project that looks like it takes about 2-3 weeks to get done, and you're totally thrown off on how you're gonna solve these things. Well, one way you can actually solve these things is by taking each piece of what the syllabus was, and you start breaking those things down into small pieces. And what I would do is I would forget about trying to actually finish the entire project, the way I feel like it should be. All I would focus on is making sure that I make the best pieces immediately as I put these things together. And one of the reasons why I say to put these little pieces like that together is that overall, my grade, I would always have a good grade and pass it. Like, we get like a C or in B in class without having to over study. And that was some of the problems I would basically talk about in these particular courses, that you don't want to overlearn, and you don't want to have like what they call an illusion of competency, where you're quickly going to move through it trying to get as much work as the teacher says to get done, that you don't necessarily pass those classes, or you don't work on those things. And it's really, thinking about it right now, it's almost like that you're supposed to do this, but other things get in your way. And one of the things I think about is that right now, if you have things that are in your way that you can't necessarily put too much mindset in, like if you're easily distracted, you want to start doing these things, these puzzle piece, producing, chunking, for instance. You want to do them as early as possible, and you want to be just as consistent doing it. And hopefully you'll be able to maintain enough information that you'll exponentially be more productive over time. And I think that's it for this. That's particularly for chunking. So I'll see you guys in the next video.